Portland Trail Blazers, Utah Jazz. Utah's been red hot. They've won 6 in a row. And just before tip, Rudy Gobert had to go to the bathroom.
Really?
So Jay Crowder came on to start. And about 12 seconds in,
funny.
Rudy Gobert was back and ready to go.
Look at his shoes. Got some toilet paper. You gotta go.
Oh, come on.
Hey, come on, Rudy.
D. Mitchell.
Tell you what, these are two interesting teams right here. I think both of them probably need to make a trade or do something spectacular if they're going to be competitive with Denver and the Warriors.
Jay Crowder.
Huh?
Portland need in your estimate?
They needed 3.
Well, I've always thought they need to break at those guards.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
The same thing with the Washington Wizards. I don't think Wall and Beal can play together. I don't think McCollum and Lillard can play together. That's just my personal opinion.
oh, wow.
Jusuf Nurkic had a 17-point third quarter
Oh, good pass.
as the Blazers rallied from a halftime deficit.
Pull up. Pull up, pull up.
Actually, this is a perfect example why I think that Lillard and McCollum can't play together. I think when they play together, they're both terrific players, but they just take turns shooting. They don't get the other guys involved.
That's Jake Layman from Seth Curry.
Play for.
And then Damian Lillard,
Tough shot.
runner for 3. Jazz not going away yet.
Oh, Euro.
Mitchell
Like them uniforms,
who had
Kenny?
36.
I like those.
But Dame Lillard had 26, and the Blazers, who had lost the previous 2 meetings to the Jazz this year, win this one on the road, 109-104. Utah All-Stars, Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, you think one,
No,
both?
they're not going to get both.
I said one, both. Which one?
Probably Donovan.
I would go with Donovan. I mean, he's the guy that, Gobert is great, but I don't think that they're in any position they are without Mitchell. If they at all.
Couldn't you say the same thing about Gobert?
Yeah, but I think
Well, I think I got to look at the list.
They're not going to get two.
No, he said if there was one of the other.
I know that, but I'm saying I would have to
Gobert
look
or-
at the list. 'Cause
They're not going to get 2.
Well, they're not. Well, they might not get one. I can say
No, if you had to choose one.
like I say, but I have to look at the list.
Why does their team, you have to look at the other players?
Well, because there's other players coming from other teams.
What, for front court, back court now?
Yes.
Oh, you're just saying front court, back court. You're just not looking at the best players because,
No, I think
typically now
they-
they
I
don't
think
care
that-
about size
I know
after
that.
the start.
No, but I'm saying we're not just picking from that team. We got to pick from other teams. Like I think Tobias Harris deserved to be an All-Star guy.
No, we're saying, okay, let's say Tobias makes it and all those other guys, but if you had to pick one All-Star from that team, which one would you pick?
Donovan Mitchell.
I would probably go with I would have to look at the list. What I mean by that is how many guards, how many.
Answer the question, man.
I know, but just the question.
From that team, who would
If
you
you have,
pick?
if
Which
you
guy
pick,
from that
pick a
team?
Utah Jazz All-Star and only one this year.
What I mean, Ernie, I'd have to see how many.
I know.
How many guards?
I'm saying.
Yes.
Let's say if there was 5 guards and 5 front court people.
If I said if
now
I.
there's one
Chuck,
spot
that's
left.
not the question.
Check, just
Now
let-
there's
let-
5 and 5.
Let me make my point.
I understand
If
your
I
point,
needed a guard, I would take Donovan.
No, there's 5 and
That's not
5.
the question.
There's 5 guards
'cause you can
and
have a
5
lot.
bigs.
If I needed a front court guy, I would go with.
I didn't say there were. I said there's 5 and 5 guards.
You can't
That's
box.
even.
You can't box me in.
I just boxed you in. This is
still
all
answer
fantasy
the question.
basketball we're playing right now.
Got 2 guys on one team. Which one you picking? That's all. That's all we want to know.
5
Gobert
and
or
5.
Donovan
You need
Mitchell?
the 11th man.
Gobert.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Think it wasn't that difficult,
Congratulations.
but it was
Love you.
certainly worth the wait.
You
I gotta look at the list.
And just for the record,
look at
I'm
the
with you
list.
on that too. I'm with you on that.
Thank you, Ernie.
You act like this was the SAT.
Man,
Struggling over here.
that
Let me
was
tell you something.
But you said
put your pencils down. Your time is up.
you struggling.
Struggling over here.
More highlights on the
I
way.
need 10 more minutes. Y'all done already?
The C's are rolling.
I do not like working.
The Thunder and the Knicks.
Tell you what, boy, that Patrick Ewing is rolling over this.
Man.
Thunder never trailed in this one.
What about Larry Johnson?
Larry Johnson, John Starks.
But the Knicks just got back from London.
Let me just tell you something about the Knicks. They suck in all countries. I don't care if they were in England, London, Paris, France.
Well, London is a city.
I said Paris. See, I said London.
I'm just saying.
Hey, man,
said in any country.
Don't try to act like you know Rhodes Scholar.
But I have traveled. I do have a passport. Okay. I understand.
What you call him, Chuck?
He
Rose?
got a Rhodes. All of a sudden, you're a Rhodes Scholar. Gonna try to make me look dumb on that. I'll punch you in your damn face.
It ain't that hard to make you look dumb.
Non-violent, Chuck. Non-violent.
Right now. You're in the country of Atlanta. Don't worry about it.
The country of Atlanta. Well, let me tell you something. I don't care what the Knicks play, they stink.
Okay. Hopefully, did you use your passport coming from Phoenix?
Hopefully you folks at home were able to follow that highlight along.
They wasn't watching the highlight, Ernie.
With Paul George scoring 31 and the
Go
Knicks.
to the
And they
TSA.
got to put that on Tunes.
The Knicks losing their 9th straight home game.
I came through that.
Jeremy, put that on Tunes.
I went through the duty-free and bought all my stuff.
It's like, why is it not? Why y'all still taxing me? Because you ain't leave the country.
The country of Atlanta.
Still to come, walking in Memphis for the Grizzlies and the Pelicans.
They trying to make you look dumb on national
Dumb on
TV.
TV. Make me look dumb on TV. It's gonna be some furniture moving.
I just repeatedly charged first 24 minutes of play in Philadelphia. Sixers and the Rockets, and it's a 15-point Philadelphia lead behind 24 from that guy, Joel Embiid. And just before they took the break, you saw Mike D'Antoni kind of heated. Did get a technical, and so they will shoot that when the second half begins. But it's 65 to 50.
Probably.
American Express halftime report. Yes, Chuck?
The police presence to the second half.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Two things you ain't never heard, Chuck. Police
presence.
15-point game, and boy, it's been amazing to watch Harden on one side, watch Joel Embiid on the other. Kenny's got the lowdown on Joel Embiid, correct?
Well, it's not just Joel Embiid. It's the effect that he has, and we talked about it. You asked me when we were in the back, how do you play James Harden?
Harden, yeah.
Having a guy like Joel Embiid, and even Ben Simmons, this allows you to play that way. And the one thing that you want to do is, there's two things you have to do. You have to have a shot blocker. So what that does is when you isolate him one-on-one and you say, I'm picking him up full court, so then we're going to go out the three-point line. So Wilson Chandler meets him and makes him drive, but freeze it here. When I have a shot blocker, I have J.J. Redick slide in because Embiid can get the shot block, and now it creates less opportunities for the Rockets to shoot the three. And then the other thing that you have to have is a guy that can slow the game down. So now we freeze it here. We're not in a rush. We're not throwing it out to you here. We're not throwing it, okay, you're denying Redick. We're going to throw it inside, the ball goes in, and now we're going to take our time, and we're going to take time off the clock because we're limiting it to possessions that you have the ball, James Harden, and limiting the opportunities you have the other team. And now, again, Ben Simmons, again, creates the pace, freeze it here. He says, freeze it, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to take this avenue, which most teams say, let me try this layup on James Ennis. But Ben Simmons says, nah, we know where the advantage is. And Embiid says, I'll take my time. I'm going to take time off the clock. And now we're shooting with 10 seconds, 9, 8 on the shot clock. I'm fine, and 1. You can't guard me inside. The Rockets are not known for defense. And then lastly, again, you have to be alert on everything. You can't give up on plays. Freeze it. This guy is 1, 2, 3 steps behind Harden. And he says, no, I can't give up on the play. As long as my guy back here slows it down, I can block it. And that's the difference. Slow the game down. If you could get the Rockets to 90 possessions, James Harden's going to take 30 of them. So all of a sudden, these guys are taking 2 shots, 4 shots, 3 shots. They're not in rhythm.
24 and 7 for Embiid in the first half, also 3 blocks. The Sixers have 10 blocks in the first half, most they've had in a half in about 3 seasons, and they lead at 65 to 50. Let me hit you, and then I'll hit Shaq on James Harden.
Well, hit him first. He's soft.
Let's hit the American Express teammates as we get to James Harden. What do you say, Shaq?
Today is a day of peace, Chuck. No, I mean, look, James Harden has, made himself one of those players. Now put him in the same category as Charles Barkley, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. When he gets going, you can't stop him. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. But right here, you know, a lot of guys say, hey, get up on him, force him right. If you do that, he has great handle. He has enough speed to go right by you. It's a great play. You're not going to stop him. You're going to get it sturdy. And right here, hand down, man down, like Moore Jackson said. You cannot be 1-2 steps off a guy, James Harden, averaging 30, 40. Right here, what he does with the dribble, he lulls you to sleep, and he pulls up in your face. And right here, you know, he even has patience. He's like, oh, I know you, Corey Brewer. This is barbecue skinless chicken right here. I'm going to work on you. Skinless chicken.
I'm happy with that if I'm Philadelphia, because the pace again, Chuck, is where I need it. And he's taking 20 shots, but nobody else on the team is taking over 5.
And that's what I said before. Let him score and shut everybody else down.
Well, I thought the key to the first half was I get mad at Embiid at times for not going down on the box. He's unguardable down there. I think sometimes he falls into this stuff that's going around the NBA where I'm a big man, I got to stand out there and shoot threes. If you see, he got a three-point player a layup like 4 or 5 times instead of shooting threes. Because every time he shoots a three against Fareed or one of those other little guys, it helps him. But on the post,
so he can get 48 points without even.
Yeah.
He got 24 right now. He can get 48 without even shooting.
But what's that's going to do? That's part of making your teammates better. They're going to have to start doubling him at some point.
He didn't shoot any threes this half, though.
That's my point, Shaq. That's the only time I get mad.
For a guy who shot 173 of them this season.
Think about it. He shot 107. That's too many for a 7'2" guy.
That with his skill in the block.
Yes.
65-50, the halftime score. Back with more on the American Express halftime report in just a sec.
Welcome to the American Express halftime report. American Express, the official card of the NBA.
Busy day around the league on MLK Day, and OKC went to the Garden in New York, never trailed. Paul George had 31, and they beat the Knicks 127-109. How about the Chicago Bulls? Won a game in 2019.
About time.
You know, that's one of them times you buy tickets for $12 on the roof and sit on the front row.
Otto Porter of the Wiz, he had 19. The Wiz have won.
You buy one of the
7 of
Raptor
10.
tickets so you can go right down on the floor, Shaq. Nobody was at that Cleveland Bulls game.
The Magic snapped a 5-game road losing streak.
Same thing here.
Same thing?
Same thing here.
That's 3 so far.
The commissioner was at that game, by the way.
What about this one?
No, you have to pay to see the free you have to pay full price to see this boy play. Him and Luka. Smile, Luka.
31-15 for Antetokounmpo. Luka, cool hand, Luka Doncic.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm going to give shout out to, D'Angelo Russell's playing great.
He is.
He's playing great. Shout out to Sean Marks and everybody, and my man Dimwitty.
Do they need a comeback player of the year? Not most improved, but comeback player for D'Angelo.
Shaq's needs a barbecue restaurant.
No, but I do have a chicken spot in Vegas called Big Chicken.
Big Chicken.
Right across from Hard Rock.
Yeah, it's great.
You got that skinless barbecue?
No, but I'm working on it.
Going to add that to the menu.
Oh,
Can you get anything there other than chicken?
Guess what I'm coming out?
What?
A Gnarls chocolate sandwich.
Gnarls chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
Because if I use his name, I would have to pay him.
I want some big chicken. I want some big chicken.
Martin Luther King was definitely a pioneer of his time to use his voice to what he believed in.
He energized groups to carry the message. It wasn't all about him, and he did it in such a loving way that it's impossible not to follow that example.
I think the way that he used his voice and his platform, no matter if it was in the eyes of ridicule or imprisonment or whatever the case was, he didn't back down from that. And so for us, it's inspiration to use our voice and our platform to speak for those that can't speak for themselves.
Very special MLK Day around the association. Our Auto Trader pregame shows you Game 1, PG-13. Forget just all defense MVP conversation. He has been as good as it gets. Thunder get the Knicks. Hawks looking for some magic. A lot of youth take center stage. Not on this stage. At least not to my left. Hawks and Magic, we'll get to that as well. We got 11. Great laugh, Mac. Clearly, perspective. Today is about much more than basketball as we celebrate the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And you think about, and I say this with Jackie Robinson Day in baseball, having covered it, where everybody sits there April 15th every year wearing 42. We recognize this day. We should appreciate and believe in the message every single day. As we bring you in to our set, Arbitrary Pregame, Casey Stern, my Hall of Famers, Zeke, Mac. Isaiah, when you sit there and you think about the importance of passing on the message to young athletes and young African-American athletes who are sitting there who may not truly understand the appreciation they should have of what this day means, how important is it for you that basketball takes center stage in that relationship on MLK Day?
I think it's extremely important that basketball and sport, represent this day because, when you come together in sport, there's really no race, there's no religion, there's no culture. It's just really about people coming together, loving each other, and trying to win or trying to accomplish a goal. What Martin Luther King stood for and what he was trying to do was to make us all equal in the eyes of the law. So there's a great history lesson here in terms of being equal under the eyes of the law, fighting for justice, fighting for equality, fighting for, equal rights in terms of the Voting Rights Act. We grew up in the 60s, played in the 70s, and I'll let Kevin, speak to how important the Celtics were during this period of time and what Red Auerbach did with Bill Russell. But I mean, when you talk about the history of sport and you talk about the history of this day, we always see that iconic picture of Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. What does that picture stand for? It stands for people fighting for equality, but using the law, using protests, using marches, but understanding how the law works in this country, and then trying to change those laws, trying to abide by the U.S. Constitution, trying to be a part of the Constitution, trying to be a part of the fabric of America. That's what MLK was all about, and that's what MLK Day represents.
Mac, Zeke references that you think about the Boston Celtics and Red Auerbach, and there are names like his and Branch Rickey in baseball and others who have been so instrumental in this. And I love something we were talking earlier, there's no white, there's no black, only green. Yeah. And the common denominator that sports not only presents in general, but how much of that in this league really began with the organization that you played for. How much of that did you feel? Give us a sense of what that was like being a part of it.
Oh, very much. I mean, red, yeah, there's no black or white. There's green, because the more we win, the more money we're going to make, and we're all going to make it together. And, we all do better together. Basketball is an unbelievable unifier of people. I grew up in a small little mining town. I didn't know any black guys growing up. I went down to the University of Minnesota, and I had no preconceived notions of anybody. I went down there, and some of the black guys on my team became way better friends than some of the white guys. And so I never looked at people from color. And like you say, when you're on the floor, you're just out there playing. The ball has no idea what color you are. Yeah. You're just moving it and stuff. And taking it back to the Celtics, Red felt like that. Red started 5 black players, first guy to do that. Yeah. He gave the head coaching job to Bill Russell. So Bill Russell was the first player coach, black.
I think it's important that you cite the date. I think Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1968. Russell became player head coach, 1969.
Yeah, I mean, but
that's how important the Celtics were.
Yeah, and that was a wild time. Zeke and I grew up in the 60s, in the 70s, played in the 70s in college, and then played in the pros in the 80s. But it felt like I grew up in a completely different world than today. I mean, I did not see a lot of color and a lot of stuff. Never dawned on me that you were different than me because of your skin color. It was honestly who you were as a person. I liked good people. I liked people that were fun. I liked people like to laugh and stuff like that. So I had universal. Didn't matter what skin color you were. And now I see, it feels like we're almost taking a giant step back, and you put everybody in their little categories. People are people. And I just think basketball is a great uniter. I think it brings people together. And I know, again, taking it back to the Celtics, that was a family. Quick story I'll tell you. So I'm a rookie. They bring everybody back, and they bring back the 1960 World Championship team. This is the first time I see Bill Russell. I love Bill Russell. So I'm in the court, and Bill Russell walks out. I'm like, ooh, Bill Russell, I'm standing out here on the court with Bill Russell. I'm excited. Red comes out. Russ gives him a hug, picks him up in the air. And I'm just staring at him. I'm thinking, wow, the love that these two guys had for each other, and the mutual respect and love and everything they had. It was just so genuine. And I just watched that. That man, these guys went through some stuff together, and they came out the other side. And you talked about common goals. The bigger your goals are, the tighter you become. Because like if your goal is just get paid in the NBA, who cares if you win?
Yeah.
Your team can be scattered and sketchy. If your goal is to win an NBA championship, you got to be tight, and you got to care about each other. And you can see those guys cared about each other.
All the way at the lowest of levels in terms of those out of the NBA, the community, and spreading the message, something that we continue to see this year to celebrate the life of Dr. King. Visited schools and youth programs around the country that are associated with NBA teams and players. Wanted to hear from the next generation of the leaders and their thoughts about civil rights, modern-day activism, and, of course, the legacy of MLK. Zeke, along with Memphis Grizzlies point guard Mike Conley, sat down with 5 students from Grizzlies Prep to have that discussion and to visit the site where Dr. King took his very last breath.
Forwards.
That's just a snippet of a feature you can see in its entirety tonight, 5 p.m., or this afternoon, I guess, 5 p.m. Eastern on the TNT pregame. Zeke, what did it mean to you? What do those types of conversations mean to you?
I was impressed, but I was also hurt that we are still dealing with some of the same issues and topics that we were dealing with in the 40s, 50s, 60s, basically since the inception of this country. And to have those young men at such a young age have to come face to face with, they just want to be equal and they want the same opportunities. And, for the one kid to say, that Martin Luther King was a man, and, we visited, the sanitation workers site where when Martin Luther King went down to Memphis, it was about I am a man, because the workers and African Americans at that time were not being treated or seen as men. And for this young man to say, hey, he just wanted to grow up and be a man and to have, the full equal rights under the law, protection, citizenship, so forth and so on. It was very enlightening, but very disheartening to see that we're still going through this.
Well, you mentioned a young age. We stay with the Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson Jr., he's been celebrating MLK Day since he was a young boy. The Grizzlies and the Pels get together today as part of our broadcast. He'll be doing what he normally does, that's playing basketball. Why don't you see what he was doing when he was 6 years old? Take a look.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the dream we know it's free. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day the Red Hills of Georgia, the Southern Florida slaves, the Southern Florida slaves will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood.